Hey guys, welcome back for another video. So today I'm starting a new project, something I've been thinking about doing for a while. I've got a few things and an occasional need to do some sandblasting, and I thought about buying one of the cheap Harbor Freight sandblasters that I don't know, get really mixed reviews. I think for the most part people say that they don't work that great until they do some kind of modifications and some improvements on them. So I got to thinking, I've got this 30-pound LP tank that I've had. This is actually a bottle that I found in a house that I bought to flip, and was always going to get rid of it, never did. I had it sitting in the corner of my shop, and I was thinking this would be a perfect size, I think, to make one of those sandblasters. So I kind of looked at the Harbor Freight ones and got some ideas, you know, kind of looked at some of the improvements that people made online. So I'm going to give a shot at actually building my own. Went to the store today and got a bunch of odds and ends, parts and valves and stuff. I don't have quite everything that I need yet. I'm going to need to get some rubber hose, and not sure, maybe a couple other fittings, but I think I've got most of what I need to try to at least get a good start on this thing. So thought I'd turn the camera on, let you guys kind of watch, see how this goes. First thing I have to do is figure out how to get this valve off. It's on there tight. I kind of messed with it a little bit already and haven't gotten it off, so I'm probably gonna have to cut this collar off the top, but I'm not crazy about doing that until I make sure there's no gas in this thing. I know it's basically empty, but I want to, you know, fill it full of water to make sure 100% of the gas is out. Start cutting things apart, drilling holes, see what I come up with. So this is really weird. I figured out there's a screw on the side of that valve. I can open that up and release the pressure off of that tank. There actually is obviously some residual gas in there. But look at that. There's flies that just came out of nowhere. They're swarming that tank like crazy. That's weird. Flies attracted to LP gas for some reason. Okay, so trying to get this leg assembly, which is built out of angle iron, centered up and squared up so I can weld on to this round tank is not the easiest thing to do in the world. So I got kind of a backwoods setup here. I got it, I think, pretty well centered up. Got the tank leveled up, and I think we're gonna go ahead and throw a weld on here. Okay, so I think I've got all the welding done. Got the, pretty happy with the leg system that I've got on here. Probably a little bit higher off the ground than necessary, but I think it's gonna work really well. Those wheels turned out really nice. It's gonna roll, you know, when I'm out here working in the gravel out in the driveway. I wanted to have a little bit bigger rubber wheels. Those should work good. Good tripod support. I'm gonna have to pressure test this and make sure that I don't have any leaks here in any of my welds. But the only thing that I might do, I was thinking about maybe putting a pop-off valve in this, but this is gonna be, you know, run through regulator supporting the tank. So I don't really think it's gonna be necessary to put a pressure relief valve in it. I have one, I just don't have a fitting. So I don't know, we'll see if I put that on there or not. But at this point, it's time to go ahead and start getting it plumbed up so I can pressure test to make sure that my welds are all good. And I'm gonna be able to actually throw some abrasive in it and see what it does. Well, I spoke too soon. I almost forgot to make a handle for my cap.
You might notice later on in the video that the way I actually plumb this in the end is a little bit different than what you're seeing me assemble here. And I won't get into all the details of what I've done, but I just want to mention that if you notice any changes, I mentioned this a couple of times, but I'm gonna do a follow-up video and get into a few more of the specifics and details, and I'll talk about the changes that I made and why I made those changes in that follow-up video. So stay tuned for that.
Okay, so it's time for me to put some pressure to this thing for the first time. And I realized that I actually want a main system shut-off valve. So I added this one. I don't really like the way this is sticking out of the top here, so I'm going to put a 90 here so that my my air supply actually comes off to the side. But for now, this will be good enough to pressurize it. What I don't know is, I'm not sure with this cap, how well this cap is going to seal. I don't know if I'm going to have to tape these threads. I also got some O-rings that I can put on there and see if that works. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and screw this on, and we'll put pressure to it and see how well it holds without taped threads. And the big question is, do I have any welds that I need to fix? Alright, so right now I've got all my valves off. Alright, so I never claimed to be the world's best welder, but I've got some leaks. I'm going to have to come back and weld around that joint. I've got some leaks around this joint. I'm just going to basically weld another bead around everything. But this cap is definitely leaking, which is pretty much what I figured. So I'm either going to have to figure out something with some O-rings, or I'll have to just throw some tape around there, and then I imagine every few times that I take that on and off, I'll have to retape it, but that's not the end of the world. So right now, I gotta take some stuff apart and put on another bead of weld. Okay guys, so I decided I'm gonna take a little different approach here. What I was doing before, I was using, for the top cap, I was using this 2-inch bushing, which is really thick. It's actually over 2 inches thick here at the base where I was welding, and the actual tank material is about 1/8. So I was basically trying to weld, over a 1/2 inch thick chunk of steel to 1/8 inch material without, my concern was obviously burning through the 1/8 inch stuff. So trying to figure out, temperature to weld. And I'm sure, a good welder probably could make this happen, but I just couldn't get this thing to seal properly. So, I abandoned this plan. I cut off both that top bushing and then also this connector that I was using for the side piece, because this too is pretty thick. It's not a 1/2 inch, but it's definitely well, it's over 1/4, almost 5/16 thick actually. So that's pretty thick to weld too. The other thing too is stupid me, I did not do a good job of cleaning these things up before I went to welding. I just basically stuck them on the tank and went after it. And of course this stuff it's got a kind of a, it's not really mill scale, but it's got some kind of a, you know, black coating on it, and it's kind of oily, and that was just stupid MIG welding, trying to get, you know, good adhesion doing that. So anyway, I had to take this stuff off anyway, which was a pain, but I did it. And rather than going back with that, what I've decided to do is I actually just got some chunks of pipe, and so with much thinner wall, this is probably like about 3/16 thick, and I just cut the end off. That's going to be my new top cap. And then I also have a chunk of just 1/2-inch pipe that I'm going to cut the threads off the end, and that's going to be my air supply into the side of the tank. So I think this is going to work a lot better. I think I'll have a lot more success getting this welded up, and that's the approach that I'm going to take now. Okay, time to pressurize this thing. Go for attempt number 2 and see if I get better results this time. All right, that's much better. So I've got no leaks here. That's 90 PSI that I put in there. The top, there's a spot back here where I had started my weld and then I had to kind of come back into it. And I got this stupid handle in the way. I should have put that on last. But so I do have a little bit of a leak right there, but that is minor. That I can take care of really easily. Much better. That's the only thing I've got going on there. So I'm gonna clean that up. I'll put another bead around there, and we're gonna be good to go. It's time to get this thing plumbed up. So down to this point, I'm pretty confident in this system as far as, you know, basic function and air delivery and so forth. But now we're getting to the point where we're getting into the area of wear items, basically. So obviously the media is going to drop down the bottom of the tank. So what I'm using coming out of this is all 1/2 inch, so 1/2 inch T-fitting. This is just a brass barb fitting. And I feel like over time that the sand or the abrasive, the media coming out of here is probably going to wear away at this fitting. So time will tell how long this lasts. You know, this is a really easy thing to take out and replace, you know, if and when it does wear out. And I think probably if I could find a steel fitting is actually going to be the better option here, but I didn't see one when I was at the store picking all this stuff up. So I'm just going to go ahead and go with this for now. Like I said, it's going to be easy to replace if I need to, and I'll probably just jump online and see if I can find a 1/2-inch steel fitting and go that route once this wears out. So just for testing purposes, I don't have the actual blasting nozzle for this yet. I actually ordered something, and I'll show you that when it comes in. So just for now, to be able to test, I'm just going to use an air coupler. This is a, I don't know what you call it, industrial or something. It's a size that doesn't fit my air tools actually, so it's just kind of throwaway anyway. It's steel. It will, you know, who knows, it'll probably wear out pretty quickly, but for now I'm just going to throw it on here, and at least it'll give me the opportunity to test the system and see how everything works. This is 1/4 inch, so I know my compressor's not going to be able to keep up with 1/4 inch, you know, a 1/4 inch blast nozzle for very long, but it'll give me a good, at least give me a good test for everything else in the system.
So in this clip now, I've switched over. I've actually gotten in the mail my new nozzle, and this is an 1/8 inch tip that I'm using here. And as you can see, there's really nice control. This is old. This is actually an old chunk of a snowplow frame, so it's really deep, pitted rust on some heavy steel. The pin that I do here in a second is off that snowplow as well. I'll leave on my follow-up video. I'm going to talk more about this nozzle. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out and you know, order something similar. But it definitely works better to have a, you know, a nozzle that's more designed specifically for the task. Does a great job. Has you can interchange the tip size really easily, and I'll talk more about that in my follow-up video as well. So here I am blasting the tank itself, and I just wanted to point out that these tanks are coated in a really durable epoxy paint or epoxy coating that's really tough to come out. So this is a good test for the blaster. Right here I'm using the 1/8 inch nozzle, and at some point I switch over to the 3/16, which actually removes the material much quicker, but of course the downside is it uses a lot more air. So in my follow-up video I'm going to talk more about the nozzles and my experience and kind of what you know, what I found out using the 1/8 versus the 3/16.
All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. If you're thinking about building a Sandblaster yourself, hopefully you found that video helpful. I'm going to actually do a follow-up video with some tips, a number of things that I came up with in building this and in my initial first couple of uses that I think will be helpful. This video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to make that a part 2. So watch for that coming out. If you haven't already, do me a favor and subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. It really helps my channel a lot. And leave a comment down below if you have any questions. I'd be glad to try to answer them for you. But again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thank you.